Do you want to know how I went from this, to this, to this? Keep watching them. Hey, it's NJ, and today I'm gonna walk you through my latest drawing that I've done of myself as an Eggman-inspired character, thanks to a friend who thought my glasses made me look like Eggman. So anyway, here I am working out the line out and what I want the sort of body to look like. I decided to trace the reference image as it was easier for me to sort of get down to my favourite part of the art, which is colouring in. Here I'm refining my line art a little bit, just making sure it's exactly how I want it to be, and then next I moved on to the colouring stage. I imported an image of Dr Eggman that I found on the internet so I could colour match and make sure that I had those as accurate to the original character as possible. I started selecting where I wanted the colours to go, and then I started blocking out the colour layers of my drawing. Here I am giving myself a red dress, and I decided to give myself a yellow belt just to add to the Eggman feel. I added some of the details from Eggman's jacket onto the dress as well, just to help it feel more like Eggman, you know. More refining of my line art, and I decided to move my Eggman and colour layer to another position on the canvas just to make it a bit easier for me to draw. I finished blocking in the individual colour layers, and then I start tidying up the layers a bit as I went over the lines. I really do like this part in the time-lapse. It's honestly really cool just to see all the different layers being tidied up, just bit by bit. I was really happy with how the colour blocking was turning out, so I continued to refine those layers a little bit more, just to tidy them up, and then I moved on to the next bit, which is lighting. I really like to play around with lighting, so here I just put a different layer and used a bright green colour just to have a look and see where I thought that the light would be hitting me. So that way I would have a better idea of how to position that later on in the drawing. Here I started putting in the shadows. For most of the colours, I managed to get down to about 50% brightness of the original colour, just to help the shadows really pop out from the highlights. There's quite a lot of back and forth in this section of me just going back over the shadows and figuring out if that's how I wanted them to look on the piece or not. This part is a little bit tedious to watch, so let me speed it up for you. I used to watch a lot of Drawing with Jazza when I was younger, and one of the bits of his work that really stood out to me were the white highlights that he used. I really love using them as they add a really bright contrast to the work, so I thought I'd add some here now. Here, I made my line art an even darker shade of the shadow shade that I used for each individual colour layer. I found this bit really cool as the line art really does blend into the artwork when you make it a darker shade of the colour that it's kind of surrounding. I started to soften the edges of the shadows, making sure that some of the lines were a bit harder than others just to add a bit of variety through the piece. I added the reflection in the sunglasses, and then it was time for the fun bit. I wanted to have a purple orb of some sort coming out of my hand, so I started playing around with a few different brushes and colour layers to figure out where I wanted it to be, and I also repositioned my piece as well just to centre it a bit more. I then started drawing my orb. I know it's not purple at this bit, but I did change the colour levels later on, and it does look a lot more purple towards the end. See? I wasn't lying. Last was figuring out the opacities, adding a background, and I was done. Let's take a closer look. So, what do you think? Be sure to like this piece on my Instagram and my TikTok, and I'll see you soon with another video. Until then, take care, and I'll see you in a bit.